I'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
An opportunity is given to the public for commentary. The comments are limited to one comment of no more than 5 minutes. And Valerie will take care of the clock. Thank you, Valerie. Ron, go ahead.
I ask everybody that would like to make a comment or a question to the borough, in your reactions button, go down and hit the button and raise your hand. I'll know you're wanting to make a comment, and I'll select them as I can get to them. So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated.
And make sure you give the clerk your name.
Sure. David Harris, you're up.
You're mute, Dave.
You're muted, Dave. There you go.
Okay. I called up Borough Hall today to speak to Kathy, not to Kathy, to Valerie, and the answering machine still says Kathy. I went to the web page and it's still signed Kathy for 2019, and it's got a whole schedule there. It would seem that should be erased by now. And I'm just wondering why doesn't, I've mentioned this about 6 months ago too, the fact that Kathy's name is still on the extension and everything. And it would seem a simple thing to substitute Valerie's name for Kathy's. Also, on the web page that I went to, I didn't see the one, I didn't know to go to Hopatcong.borough.org. I went to Hopatcong Council and Mayor, and on there it says John Young and Rich Schindler's term expires 12/31/20, which I know is not true, but it's still on there. And I'm just wondering, is this a web that we shouldn't be having? I mean, because the information on there, it'll have the whole agenda for 2019. And the other thing was, I called up Borough Hall today to find out about the meeting, whether it was virtual or whether it was going to be face-to-face. And I got a message saying that the receptionist wasn't available. And then I called about 2 hours later and I got the same message. And then I finally someone called me back, but I wasn't able to answer it because I was in a meeting. And I'm just wondering, I thought normally it seems like there's two people in the reception office. And I was wondering what's going on there. But that's basically it. The notice of the meeting, it would seem, would be on Hopatcong Borough Council and Mayor, because that's of interest, or maybe get rid of that page. I'm confused by these web pages. Maybe you could clarify them. That's it.
Thank you, David. Next up, Ron.
Sorry. Let's start from the top here. Mr. Rodriguez, you're up.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Rodriguez of 9 Skyline Drive. First, I'd like to thank our council member, mayor, and everyone for running for council. It's a very difficult thing to do, to put yourself in that position and to put yourself out in front of the public. Second, a little bit about myself. I've been a member of Hopatcong for well over 20 years. I have volunteered for the ambulance squad for over 8 years. I acted as captain for 2 of those years during Sandy. I've been a volunteer firefighter in town for approximately 4 years. I'm a current law enforcement officer, not in our town. I'd like to thank a couple of our council members who have already spoke about resolution 2021-140 in asking to table it. I would like all of our council members and mayor to vote no, or to at least table this until we could get a more formal public hearing where we actually get together. In regards to that resolution, I would like to begin with, when did we start our fact finding in regards to this? resolution in the dispatch center. What is the actual cost to upgrade our current dispatch center? We want to see the proposal for the full cost that it's going to cost. I know council members have posted that it's going to be $3.6 million that they're requesting. And I believe that figure is more close to 2.9 million. How is it going to be broken down? There's funds, there's grants, there's multiple. How are they requesting for us to be paid for? Have there been any formal meetings with our police chief or the police department or any of the other emergency services in town? I know for a fact that the ambulance squad was not asked, and there have been public comments made that they were supporting this, and clearly they are not supporting this resolution. I'd also, in regards to that as well, when it comes to money, we're all about money. And I agree, we should be saving money. We should be saving taxes on the taxpayer. What portion of the federal 911 funds do we receive as the town, and what goes to the county? Are we receiving any? I know other towns have made resolutions to the county seeking out these funds. Newton and Vernon specifically have made resolutions asking the county for their portion of these funds. Have we? Another thing I would also like is to, at a formal public meeting, is to have the chief of police or another member of the police department to publicly speak, and let's hear their side in person rather than playing back and forth. Let's hear directly from them and how it's directly going to affect them. I know we want to break down stats and everything. Our police department, our dispatch center, received over 83,000 calls in a year span. Right. Our police department has handled from those calls over 17,000 calls. Our EMS department has handled over 1,000 calls, and our fire department has handled 230 calls from all those calls that our dispatch center has received. As a past captain of the ambulance squad, and especially during Sandy, I have dealt with our dispatchers directly. I have dealt with them in my current profession. They have saved lives of my coworkers. They have helped me out dramatically. During Sandy, if it wasn't for our dispatchers being in-house and being right there handling multiple phone lines, because as we know, cell towers were down, radio communications were down, we're only working locally. I even stepped in at the time and handled calls with them. If it wasn't for them, our town would have been cut off completely from the outside. Have we looked into shared services with our surrounding neighbors of Stanhope and Byram? Currently, Stanhope is paying roughly $90,000 a year for their dispatch center to Sparta PD. Byram Township is paying roughly $130,000 to the county right now. Have we reached out to them to come to Hopatcong? If we upgrade our center, it would be gladly we could take these towns in, even at a discounted rate of what they're paying now. And we could turn our dispatch center into revenue generation. Also, as we could clearly tell, from comments that I've been making, we are much farther into this fact finding than that's been led on. And I would like to know what other towns have our council spoken to in regards to.
That's 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Rachel Rodriguez, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Rodriguez. I reside at 9 Skyline Drive. With regard to Resolution 2021-140, what portion of our current county taxes fund the county dispatch center? What would be the contract term and price? How will that contract rate change upon the expiration of the initial contract? Has anyone spoken with surrounding town first responders who have switched to the county-based system for their opinions of its overall performance? The study has been in process, as we can see from public comments made, but this resolution states Hopatcong Borough wishes to explore the possibility of shared services. Its effective date is October 6, 2021. Why is this resolution being brought to light now? We have over 800 signatures and more coming in to keep our dispatch center and dispatchers in Hopatcong the best foundation of every great emergency service team, police, fire, and EMS is the dispatchers themselves. They are often forgotten and looked at as a line item for town expenses, but they are an invaluable part of the team. Our Hopatcong dispatchers ride with the Hopatcong Police Department to learn the area. Our Hopatcong dispatchers are aware of the paper roads that do not come up on a GPS, so knowing the area and navigating our police officers are essential. Our Hopatcong dispatchers are primarily made up of Hopatcong residents. They provide 24/7 video monitoring at our schools and local parks. They have over 90 years of combined experience. Our Hopatcong dispatchers assist with officer safety within the station during prisoner processing, allowing additional officers to remain on the roads for the public. Our Hopatcong dispatchers provide a 24/7 human presence at the police station in case of walk-in emergencies. Now, I feel cheaper isn't always better, but if you were given the choice, would you pick the cheaper surgeon with minimal education to perform your life-saving surgery? Or would you pay a little bit more to pick the surgeon with the most experience and knowledge to save your life? Thank you.
Next up, Ron.
All right, let's see here. Nancy G, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Gonzalez. I live in the Glasser area of Hopatcong. I'm on here. I'm going to make it quick. What Rachel said, I second that to the 100th there. I want to mention these Zoom meetings. I understand we need to do what we need to do due to COVID and all that stuff, but I think that we should have in-person meetings. We'll wear masks, we'll social distance, do whatever we need to do in order to address all the situations that are happening in our town. All other surrounding towns are doing it that way. So I just think that the Zoom thing is just a little bit too cold, in my opinion. People should just be there in person. A picture is 1,000 words. So the next thing for me is the dispatcher situation, 2021-140. I think they're very essential. I don't think it should even be a thought in anyone's head to try to eliminate them or cut them out or anything like that. They're very needed, especially in the area where I am, where even the light company and the cable company, they don't even know where to find our houses or our roads as it is. I can only imagine an emergency situation. Also myself, I've had a few emergencies. I work at the Glasser Post Office and I've had to call dispatch, and they have helped me tremendously with dispatching helicopters, whatever else is needed for a drowning that happened, I think it was in 2019. So I think that we need to probably say no to the resolution or table it, as it's been said by the other people that spoke before me, so we can find the proper solution for this situation with the dispatching center and the dispatchers involved. My second thing is the Hopatcong Street, vacating Hopatcong Street. I understand that in the beginning of this, someone said that things need to be added to this, so it'll be clearer for people that it's going to be a fire lane, so on and so forth, whether it's on the easement or however else it is. I'm just curious on what the status update on that is as well. That is it. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Theresa Walker, you're up.
Okay, can you hear? I think I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
I have a question. It's actually 2 items on the bill list. It's bill number 21-01339 and 21-01384. They're payments to remove trees, but they're residence address. I'm just curious why they're submitted to the town. I'm sure there's some explanation of it. But when I saw the addresses and their bill paid to remove trees, if someone could explain it to me. And that's the only questions I had. I do have a comment. I appreciate the Zoom meetings, especially while Sussex County vaccination numbers are still not at the state level, and that we're still considered a very high transmission rate. So I do appreciate that we have the ability to at least come to the meetings, even if it's not in person, having it done this way. So I'm sure if you ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different responses on it. But thank you anyway for making it available. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Patty Avendis. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Patty, you're up.
Hi, that's close. It's Patty Avendis, and I'm at 28 Isabel Avenue in Northwood section. I just want to thank the council for all their help with ordinance 23-2001. We have submitted a proposed amendment, hoping just to make sure that the street is protected and that the fire trucks can always get through. We've worked with the fire department and NCA very closely, and I hope you consider and approve all the proposed amendments. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
I only have it as iPhone 10. I'm not sure who you are. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and you're up.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm new to the phone and I'm at work, so I only have a minute. Thank you so much for taking it. My name is Michelle Yaros. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Michelle Yaros and my street address is 22 Rollins Trail, Hopatcong, New Jersey. And I am talking about the resolution 2021-140. And two things I would think that all these dispatchers, all this emergency first responders that we have in this town, including the community responders that were so essential to our Sandy reaction that we had. I think that our town was beyond the best as far as having the resources for the victims of Sandy and anyone else that was directly negatively affected or indirectly affected by Sandy. And that I mention a lot because that really was huge, and it shows you how our dispatchers and our first responders in this town are so essential and needed and will be needed. I hope that you guys say no to this resolution, or at the very least table it for future discussion before you start the exploration. Give some townspeople that didn't know anything about this resolution some time to look at it and discuss it amongst themselves during the benches of watching their children or their coffee clutches at the delis, and get a little bit more and see the interest and the passion that maybe they'll come to the future meetings. And speaking of your future meetings, I would love to see the future meetings being held in person. I know COVID is a big scare. I work in the medical field. I see it every single day, but we can get creative. The auditorium at the high school can be asked. We can sit 6 seats apart. Hello. I mean, our town meetings usually have between 12 and 20 people, and we're happy. So that is most definitely possible. I'm sure the Board of Education would be more than happy and willing to help the town council have appropriate meetings where we can all have a voice and not be limited to Zoom. Some people don't know how to use Zoom. Some people don't even have a computer or an iPhone or a smartphone to be able to use Zoom and be part of this important discussion and future discussions. Obviously, my heart right now is in Resolution 2021-140, but there's other passions that I have that I would be coming to the town council meetings. I don't expect you to change it from a Wednesday. I'm at work until 1 a.m. on Wednesday, so it's very difficult to get on. I actually asked special permission from my physician to let me go on for 15 minutes and listen to you guys. That's what I wanted to say. And the last thing I wanted to see is back in the day when I used to come to the meetings and scream and yell and be part of the physical awesomeness. I used to be able to speak at the beginning of the meeting, and then I was able to have you guys listen to my beautiful voice at the end of the meeting. That stopped, and me researching back to the minutes up to 2019, that stopped from 1 week to the other in May of 2019. And I would love for that second public comments to come back to the meetings because it really does put a closure on things that maybe have been brought up that were forgotten to be put on the agenda, or somebody else spoke and it's just something that was reminded. It's very difficult for someone to put all their thoughts together, rushing from work, rushing from giving their kids meals, or having to tell their husbands what time to put the kids to bed if it's the mom, or have vice versa. To have that extra minute while we're listening and digesting everything that you wonderful people are telling us about our town and the decisions that you're making on our behalf, it'd be nice to have an opportunity at the end of the meeting to make a comment, even if you limit it to 1 minute. Right now, I've been speaking 3.5 minutes. I'm keeping track of my time. It would be wonderful to have 1 or 2 minutes at the end of the meeting to be able to discuss whatever was discussed at the meeting. Thank you for your time. I'm going back to work. I really appreciate that you let us have this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Let's see here. Carly Cochler, you're up.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Carly and my husband, Robbie Gochler. We're at 12 Canfield Street. I just have a few notes here. The first one is, I agree with the in-person meetings. I'm newer. I've been to a few meetings recently, but I would like to start going to them in person and meeting everybody and actually being able to ask more questions, maybe before, during, and after. Larger venue sounds like a great idea. I think the high school idea is awesome. Next, I just wanted to kind of say thanks to Dan Rodriguez for everything that he brought up. I would love to hear all of that information that he brought forth. Then where would we find that information? I don't know if it gets posted to the page or if it can get sent out somehow in a letter to everyone, or how do we find that information after this? I'm not always on Facebook, but that's where I try to pop in and read some things. I try to check our website, but I just feel like if you're not 100% active in the town, it's hard to get the information. My next comment is it possible to ask other towns that moved their dispatch center how they felt about it, how it went in the beginning, what the differences were between when they had local dispatch versus moving their dispatch center? Just to get an idea. I mean, I know that other towns have done it, so it'd be nice to hear from them. Next is, so I've grown up in Hopatcong. We bought a house here a few years ago, and we're hoping to have a small family here. So I'm concerned when it comes to the dispatch. So, that was 2021-140. So I'm concerned about our dispatch center, and just the safety of our town. Like, how does that affect our safety? Let me see what else I have. And then just a few things that I know that our dispatch center have done. And I think this is very personal, and I'm just not sure that this would happen if we were moved to county. But I'm gonna start with the one simple. When our trees go down in town, our dispatch center starts a list, and I feel like that's something that's really personal to our town. They make sure that they're on top of it because it's our town working for our town. So people who live here working and caring about getting our town cleared up. That's a simple one. The other example is actually, there was like a school debacle, bus miscommunication, kids not getting brought home on like the first day of school. It was like a whole mess I heard about. And I know that our dispatch actually played a big part in solving that. So between dispatch and our police, getting to the different schools, finding the missing children, getting everyone back home safely. It was awesome that we did, but would our county spend the time to do that? And last, I think this was a year or two ago when, I think it's called dredge boat, when that flipped in the lake, and we have all these coves, and Hopatcong does have the windy hills, they have the coves on the lake, and we know where everything is, or local community people know where everything is, that our cops were able to get to the dock and jump off that dock and swim to the dredge boat to try and save him. And that was thanks to our dispatch center for knowing the area, knowing how to get to that cove. I think that's all of my points, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Rebecca, you're up.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Rodriguez. I'm at 122 Brandona Ave.
I just want to second what Carly said. I think that was a great point. Our dispatchers are invaluable to us. And my biggest question regarding that would be, have we asked towns that did switch over what they're feeling about it? How has it worked out for their towns? Have they seen the same productivity coming from dispatch? These are things that are so important, and we have the resources to ask that we might as well be asking them. And has this information been shared with the police department? Has it been shared with the ambulance squad, with the fire departments, even with the town? And secondly, having in-person meetings is invaluable. It allows everyone to put a face to the name. It allows us to make connections in our town and feel as though we matter. Of course, keeping Zoom available for people who are afraid of COVID or who aren't able to get out. That's so important, and it increases access. So just wanted to see if these are things we're thinking about and bringing to your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Mira, you up?
Hello. I have a question about the bill list. 21-01458 is Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins LLP, $22,000, and it just says progress billing in the matter. And then I'd like to speak about the dispatchers. I'd like to mention that dispatchers do more than just direct traffic, and our emergency personnel are excellent first responders in this town. And I'd like to know how it was posted there was $3.6 million was the amount for the dispatcher upgrade. And I'd like to know how that number was arrived at. And does that include the $76,000 that we already allocated for an upgrade for the dispatch console, which was ordinance 17-2021 on 6/16/21? And that's it.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
That seems to be it, Michael.
Okay.
Wait a minute. One more. Hold on. Miss Poland, you're up.
Hello, this is Patricia Poland. I reside at 29 Rollins Trail in Hopatcong. I also would like to speak of 2021-140 in reference to dispatch. I know a lot of people know who I am. I, at one point, was a trainee at the Hopatcong Dispatch Center. At another point, I was a trainee up at Sussex County at the actual quote unquote outsourcing center, the PSAP that is up there. I have to play devil's advocate here because I've worked in both of these places. I am going to start with that I have the utmost respect for any of these PSTs, any of these dispatchers. They have a hard job. It's chaotic, it's stressful, it's underappreciated, and it's also incredibly rewarding. The PSTs are the first responders in any emergency, any 911 call, and they need to be recognized by the state of New Jersey as that. And currently they're not, they're considered clerical. But that's a whole nother conversation. The mayor and the town council and the business administrator, you guys all have a duty to the people of this town, to all of these people who are speaking and listening. You have a duty to us, and it's your job as paid and elected officials to explore these options, to explore public safety for the services that you are required to provide to our town. I also hope that you guys are not just exploring dispatch. I hope that you are exploring garbage, our parks and grounds care, maintenance, fleet maintenance. I hope that you are exploring all of this, not just dispatch, and our communication systems that we have in our town. I would like to note that as I had worked as a trainee, as a PST trainee in the county, a lot of the things are very similar. These dispatchers in Hopatcong answer the phone the same way that you answer across the county, across the state, because that's how you have to. 911, where's your emergency? It's how it is. That doesn't change whether you're located in Frankfurt, whether you're located in Hopatcong. These dispatchers up county are required to do the same training, if not more. It's over 500 hours of training that they are required to do. They do the same ride-alongs. I personally spent 5 hours with one of the agencies, the police agencies that we dispatched for, and I spent 6 hours with another agency. Mind you, in Hopatcong, I had only done 1 hour with a patrolman. Actually, it was a sergeant. So they do the same thing. Our training is the same. We are certified the same way. It's public telecommunicator number 1. Up at county, you have to be an EMD as well. Some of our dispatchers are EMDs. I can't actually speak whether they all are or not. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that they do not EMD there. At least while I was working there, they do not EMD. That is a service that's provided by St. Clair's, which is, and please, someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, if it has changed, but they do not EMD. So that's something that is outsourced. Let's see. I have the same feelings that the dispatchers up county have as we have down here. They are there to serve the people on the other side of that phone line, whether they live in Hopatcong, whether they live in Vernon, whether they live in Roxbury or Jefferson, and they are, you know, cell phone towers bounce them into Hopatcong. They don't care where you are. They care they're helping the people. And that's important. It's not specific, and I don't take that the wrong way. It's not specific. They do this job to help people, and it doesn't matter where they live. I really do. Again, I really hope that you guys are not just there's a whole nother side to this story. And I hope that you do let the rest of the town people know the county side of the story and what those things that the county has to offer and the resources, and that you're not looking to leave the people of Hopatcong high and dry.
That's 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Wolf, Judy, I guess that's you.
Actually, that's Don Wolf this time.
Okay, there we go.
36 Alexandria Avenue.
Okay.
Would like to say hello to the council. Thank you to the members who brought up saying tabling or voting no on 2021-140. Wanted to speak first to the Hopatcong Street and the reason for our questions about keeping a fire lane there. It is a question of safety for the homes in this area, that if there is not another source of water available to fight a fire up here, then we absolutely need that fire lane. It is without question critical. And I would also ask that any other fire lanes in this town that you are considering vacating, unless there is another source of water for them, that you do not move forward with any of that. As to the dispatch center, you saw the number of calls that they receive. A couple of hundred fire calls, 1,000 ambulance calls, and then there's 76,000 other calls. Where we are getting those other calls answered is the question for the council to consider. And I know that you want to move forward and have meetings with these people, and it is most definitely necessary for you to understand what goes on in that dispatch center. There are many calls there that are not emergency calls. They are not 911, but they are critical to the citizens of this town. And there are questions that are answered, and there are needs that are addressed, and they are sent to the correct persons, and they serve the community. You would have to have people replace that, and that's going to add a cost to you as well. And these are all things that I think will come up when you do have the meetings. I am a little bit disappointed that this was not brought up sooner, and that a lot of rumors circulated around the town before we got to this point. But I strongly ask you to vote no or table this until we can have some actual discussion. I absolutely want open meetings and an open forum for this. I think in person is going to be critical. And I would also ask that you bring back the second public comment part of your town meetings. Thank you very much.
No more on?
Don't see any, Michael.
Entertain
Mayor,
a
that's all I see at this point.
Entertain a motion and bring it back.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will personally address a lot of the issues with the dispatch center in my comments, and it will be documented. So if you want, you can have a copy of it. But the question about the tree removal, we do that when the tree is on our property and we identify where we're at with a house address. We don't cut trees down on private property. So when you see tree removal on a bill list, it is a tree on borough property that's endangering someone else's property, and we're obligated to manage that. In-person meeting, we're still looking into that. We'll continue to look into that, but right now, the safest thing to do right now is Zoom meetings. And the reason I say that is because the numbers, we have to be very careful with COVID. I can't tell people what to do and won't, but I do pay attention to the numbers and the reports from Sussex County. And so when we see, and I'll ask them from guidance from the State Board of Health, the County Board of Health, and also the governor's executive order. So we will pay attention to that. I kind of like personal meetings too, but we got to pay attention to COVID. Where are we? Back on the street, we're going to address that. The shared services, actually our landscaping is outsourced. We don't do that with our employees. Our garbage has been outsourced for the past few years, and although it's not perfect, we keep trying to make it better. Like anything else, COVID has affected that employer. We do shared service with animal control, so we are paying attention to everything and any opportunity we have. And we didn't come about it easily either. We probably won't in this case, but we'll do a thorough job, I can assure you. And I will make a comment on as to why. You'll understand a little bit later. So approval of minutes.